How are you? It's JT. Welcome back to JT Talks Jobs. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is the show that teaches you everything that school didn't about job search and career growth and just taking ownership of your professional life. And I'm so glad you decided to join me here today. We're going to be talking about unhealthy job search habits. We always hear about unhealthy eating habits and dieting and exercising. Well, we're going to take it down the path of unhealthy job search because I'm seeing a lot of that lately. And the result of that is that you don't get what you're looking for, which is a fabulous new job. So we're not only going to discuss the 3 most common unhealthy job search habits that I see, but we're also going to talk about some tips to turn things around for you, okay? Wonderful. Before I begin, I always do a little housekeeping. First of all, I'm going to have plenty of time at the end for question and answer. We have a very specific way for you to post your questions. I apologize in advance. I can't get to all of them. I do the very best that I can. So just remember that. And also, don't forget that we always have amazing resources for you job seekers at Work It Daily. In fact, I want to announce 2 things right now that you need to know about. First of all, you asked for it and we delivered. We have just launched the Ultimate Resume Accelerator. This is a $5 product that gives you our cutting edge video tutorials on resume design. It gives you our templates you can use to adapt. And we built this incredible tool. It's called the Transferable Skill Tool that helps you figure out what your transferable skills are and how and where to put them on the resume. This is a total game changer. It's part of what we've been teaching in our job search summit. So if you've ever seen those, you would know. And it's $5 instant access. You can download immediately. So check it out. I know the team's got it in the links. The second thing I want to tell you about, and I'm even more excited about this, we are hosting our 3rd live job search summit. Don't know if you heard about this. It's pretty phenomenal and extremely fun. It is a 6.5-hour all-day event. It's live. And if you can't attend live, it's okay. If you sign up, you can get the recording. We have a workbook. And in those 6.5 hours, we walk you through resume, LinkedIn profile, cover letter, interview prep, and online networking. All the things you need to do to kickstart your job search, just kind of jumpstart everything. And so you set aside the day, you get in the zone, you get completely energized by all the other people on there with you, you bang this thing out, and you start landing your dream jobs. And I'm telling you, the last 2, we have gotten the most unbelievable responses from people because hear me, folks, there are jobs. I know that you're hearing about the crisis and the pandemics and the layoffs, and guess what? The layoffs are going to keep coming, but it doesn't mean that nobody's hiring. In fact, a lot of these companies that are laying off, they're hiring. They're just hiring for different skill sets, and the people they're laying off didn't fit those. So you've got to have your head in the game, and you've got to have a very good proactive job search strategy. And those basics, resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, interview prep, networking, those things you really need to know. And school didn't teach us this stuff. So where are you going to learn it? You're going to learn it with us. And here's the best part. All day, workbook, recording, $10. The Job Search Summit is $10. We are the only people doing this. So please check it out, whether you want the instant access to the $5 Resume Accelerator or you want to come join me September 22nd for an all-day live event for $10 or get the recording. I hope you join us because we're really, really proud of these and we're changing lives. We made a commitment in 2020, well before this hit, that we were going to change 1 million lives. We were going to grow 1 million careers in 2020 at Work It Daily. And we are getting there. We're in the home stretch and we're getting there. And these are 2 of the ways that we're now helping people do it. Okay. All right. So enough housekeeping. Let's start talking about unhealthy job search habits. All right. And if you're guilty of these, it's okay because I'm going to be able to tell you how to improve it. So the first thing I need you to understand, and I know that you do understand this, but I'm going to drive it home today, is that busy doesn't mean productive. Busy doesn't mean productive. If you tell me you've had a busy day in job search, I am going to be very critical of what you got done. I want to see what you got done because I don't believe that you need to be spending 8 hours or more a day looking for work, especially if you're between jobs right now. We don't say unemployed. That's a very negative term. We say between jobs or between gigs. When you're between gigs and you have a little bit more time to spend, doesn't mean that you should be working 8 hours a day. This whole looking for work as a full-time job thing is not true. You need to work smarter, not harder. You need to be productive and focus on those, what we call the high payoff activities. And so you got to ask yourself, are you guilty right now of doing busy work? And what you're going to see is these 3 bad habits are all busy work driven. They're not true job searching technique. Okay. So be ready, because I'm going to ask you all in the chat how many of you are guilty of 1, 2, or all 3 of these. All right. And you need to be totally honest with me. All right. Awesome. Here we go. So here's distraction number 1, busy work number 1, resume and LinkedIn tinkering. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I talk to people all the time, and they'll say, well, it took me 3 weeks to do my resume. What? Why? And they said, well, I did it. Then I looked at it again. I had to tweak it. And, it wasn't right. And then, I researched online, and then I ran it by a few people, and then they made suggestions. And then I was confused because they gave me different things and I wasn't sure what to do. And so I tweaked it again. And then I sent it out and I didn't get any responses. So clearly something's wrong with it. So I did it again. No, stop the insanity. A resume does need to be done in the latest format, but no amount of tinkering with your resume is going to statistically increase the chances that you get the interview. These days, there's too much competition. Millions of people are applying online. You need a strategy that's going to allow you to go around the system and connect and get in front of the hiring manager, at which point you do need a good resume, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good and structured properly and be done in the latest format, all right? And again, this tinkering thing, stop. That is not helping you at all. Same thing with LinkedIn. People will say, oh, I've been working on my LinkedIn profile for a month. What? No. In our program, you can have your entire resume designed in an hour and then send it to our career coaches for review. Same thing with LinkedIn. They're done. They're done right. And you stop worrying about them, because that is distracting you from doing the high payoff activities. You know what I'm talking about, folks. You know what I'm talking about. So if you've been tinkering with your tools, then you need to stop once and for all. You've got to certainly get the right information and have them optimized, and then you got to stop. All right. So that is distraction number 1. Very unhealthy. Distraction number 2, spraying and praying. All right. So this is when you say, okay, my resume is done. I'm going to just see how many companies I can apply to. If I even remotely fit, I'm going to apply, because if I apply to enough jobs, the chances are someone will contact me, and then no one contacts you. And applications online, they can take anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour to complete. So I've listened to people say, I applied all week online. I probably spent 25 hours online applying to companies, JT, and I've heard nothing back. Here's why. Studies show less than 3%, less than 3% of people that apply online ever hear from a hiring manager. And that's because online systems have actually made it more difficult for you to get seen. They're not designed to screen you in. They're designed to screen you out. So when you have a crisis like the one we have right now, and you have such high unemployment rates, you get 10 times as many people applying for that one job that gets posted online. So now imagine instead of 10 applicants, they get 1,000. Well, the system weeds out the people that aren't a match and then ranks the people, the top 10 to 20 people that are a match. So no matter what you do, you're not going to know what keywords or what things have to be in there in the application to get you in the top of the list. And then after they get those 10 or 20, they look at them and they only contact 3 to 5 of them. So you're not going to see great results online. Now, should you not apply? If there's a job that you're 100% fit for, sure, you can apply. But if you're underqualified, folks, if you're only an 80% fit, or if you're overqualified, you're like 120% fit, you will be screened out, because there's enough people that are 100% fit. So this is why online applications don't work. It is a waste of your time. And I'm going to talk about the better way to go about this and how to be more selective in what you apply to online so that you can get better results, okay? All right, spraying and praying, not a good thing. Bad job search habit. All right, and let's get into the third one, job crushing. Now, everyone does this, I think, once and then learns their lesson. So this is for all of you out there that when I explain it, you go, I've never done that before, because you will. And you're going to hopefully remember me saying this. So job crushing is when there's a job that you like and you get the initial phone screen or you get the initial interview. And they tell you that it's going to be a week or so before they get back. And so you're so into this company and you're so crushing on this job that you decide that you're going to take the foot off the pedal. You're not going to look for any more opportunities. You're not going to network anymore. You're not going to proactively apply to the right organizations. Just going to stop because you've got one in the pipeline. And you think about it, you're a business of one. You're selling your services. So essentially what you have here is a warm lead, meaning a customer has talked to you and expressed interest. You do not have a sale. And if I have any salespeople on here today, you know we talk all the time about filling the funnel and having multiple things in the pipeline. Because when you sit and job crush on one company and you waste a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks waiting to hear back from them, only to hear that they've changed the job description or they've gone with someone else, that's 3 weeks of job search you can't get back. So you do not job crush. When there's a company you like and they've responded to you, you double down. You triple down. You keep looking for other opportunities because you don't want to go into these interviews so amped up that they're the one and there's nothing else in your pipeline that you're crushing so bad you're embarrassing yourself. Right? And if you think about dating, it's kind of the same thing. You don't want to be overly goo-goo gaga for somebody that still isn't sure about you. So that's why it's very important to continue to look for opportunities. Even when you're like almost at the negotiation stage, you do not stop until you have a written offer and you've accepted it. You do not stop. Things can happen. Things can change. I've seen people accept offers, resign from jobs, and then have the offers rescinded. There's no legal recourse for that. But they weren't job seeking for the last month. So now they're out of a job. They have no pipeline and they're miserable. So no job crushing, okay? You can crush in your romantic life. There's no crushing in job search. All right, does that make sense to everybody? Those are the 3 distractions. They are huge, they mess with you, and you really want to try to avoid them. So let me give you 2 tips to help do that. First of all, I want everyone here to schedule their job search. So by that I mean, I don't want you scheduling 8 hours a day. I want you to think about the time of the day when you're most productive mentally. So for some of us, it's really early in the morning. For others, like my husband, he comes alive at 6 o'clock at night. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. His brain turns on at 6. He's a pilot and he flies nights. He flies cargo. So I think that's part of it, right? But everyone's different. So you're going to schedule a block of 2 hours. If you can do more, that's great. But most people's attention span's about 2 hours. And you're going to block off 2 hours, 3-4 days a week if you can. And you're going to commit to focusing on very high payoff activities in that time frame. And you're going to keep track and reward yourself when you stick to your plan and you really maximize what happens in those 2 hours. No resume tinkering, no daydreaming about the job, no just blindly applying to applications online that you're not 100% fit for. You're going to do the good stuff, which leads me to tip number 2. And tip number 2 is focusing on those high payoff activities, which are these. These are the things that get you hired. At Work It Daily, we have a job search plan and checklist that maps out with video tutorials, with supplemental documents, every step of this process. I have been doing this since 2001. Prior to that, I was in HR and staffing and recruiting for many years. So I understand how companies recruit. And the job search plan takes you through everything you need to do to market yourself, your business of one. Within this process, there are 4 things that are so important. First of all, a bucket list. You need to target your job search. You need to be aware of what companies are in your area that you could commute to, or if we're working remotely, that hire, that are in your industry and that hire for your skill set that you are attracted to. Because when you're interested in an employer, job search is so much easier. So that requires some work to research and identify and build that list. But once you've got that list, things get so much easier. And let me show you what I mean. Writing cover letters. Cover letters these days are not about you. They are not a summary or regurgitation of your resume. They are about the employer and why you feel connected to their products and services. Companies right now, with so many people available, they have their pick of employees. They want employees that get them, that understand why the business exists. So you've got to talk about that emotional connection you have to their work. And that's what gets them to say, ooh, this is somebody that understands us. This is somebody that stands out from the crowd because they get us. Second reason you want this bucket list, informational interviews. You know who to reach out to. You should be setting up interviews with people that work at these companies, not because you're going to ask them to help you get a job, but because you want to understand how they got hired, what they like about the company, and what they think it takes to be successful at the company, so that when an opportunity pops up, you will have things to write about in the cover letter. You will have things to say in the interview, and you will be able to really show your connection to the company. And oh, by the way, you'll have people that you can reach out to say, hey, I actually just applied to your XYZ position. I really appreciate the time you took to let me informational interview you because I felt more prepared, right? So you're going to be able to build that process. And then the fourth thing you need to be doing is online networking. Because social distancing, we don't have a lot of in-person networking right now. There are so many groups that are popping up, trainings that are popping up, communities that are out there. You need to be getting into these things in the same way that you used to go to a live networking event. You need to be doing the online stuff. And you've got to expand your network in your industry and in your skill set and in your geographic location. And when you do those things, opportunities come to you. People, when you say, oh, this company is on my bucket list, and someone says that you knows somebody who knows somebody that works there, 6 degrees of separation. That's how hiring is getting done right now. Referral, recommendation. If you're only applying online, it doesn't work. But if you can target a company you know you want to work for, apply online because you're 100% fit, and then go and write a disruptive cover letter and target the recruiter or the hiring manager and say, here's the story of why I'm so passionate about your company. I just applied for your XYZ position. I hope I get a chance to earn the opportunity to talk with you. And they read this disruptive cover letter about why you get them, and they walk down the hall and they pull your application from the thousands that came in. That's the strategy that works. And we know it works because it happens every day at Work It Daily. We see it every day. So these are the job search game changers that you need to be doing in order to move ahead. You got to break your bad habits, your unhealthy habits, and you've got to adopt and be consistent on a daily basis with these new habits, these better habits for strategically finding work. Okay? All right, that's the reality, folks. Now I'm going to take questions here in a minute. My team are going to pull those for me. Just a reminder again, check out the links. We've got the brand new $5 instant access resume accelerator, and September 22nd is the next live job search summit. $10 all day, massive intensive class to catch you up on everything you need to know about job search in 2020. All right, so check out both of those. We would love to have you. Now it's time for a little Q&A. All right, so we've got a comment for Robert. Robert says, I've never watched you, JT, until today. I found your content interested, and I'm thinking about a personal brand and resume makeover to consider a new role. I've delayed taking action because I'm comfortable. Thank you for sharing your knowledge to help people. Oh, thank you, Robert. Get out of your comfort zone, Robert. Get out. No one's going to take you out of your comfort zone. There is no career fairy. We all know that. No one's going to wave a wand to get you what you want. Go for it, Robert. It's the best thing you can do for your career is to keep on reaching. Forget what's going on around you. Keep on reaching people because nobody's going to reach for you. And when you need support, you know who to come to. All right. David in Texas says, you have to have at least 3 applications a week to continue to receive unemployment benefits. So you have to do a little busy work. That is a great comment, David. It is unfortunate that that is how the unemployment laws work, but 3 applications a week is nothing compared to people telling me they did 20 and hearing nothing. So be judicious, be strategic in those 3 that you're applying to, and follow the techniques. Don't just apply and wait to hear, because you won't hear. You have to go do all the other things to get noticed by the company. And I would rather you do that than waste your time. Excellent. Anne says, can I get a list of questions for informational interviews? So Anne, we do have that, but that's inside the Work It Daily program, and it is proprietary content. I'll be perfectly honest with you. So if you go join Work It Daily, you can go see our informational interview tutorial in our interview prep plan, and we have a list of questions in there. But it is proprietary because it's our secret sauce. It's how we help people get ahead. Joe says, how do I target smaller companies? So Joe, that's a really good question. And the reason Joe's asking this is because big companies have lots of presence on LinkedIn. They have Glassdoor reviews. There just seems to be an easier way to find and connect with somebody. Smaller companies, you don't have that. But here's the thing. Smaller companies love to hear that they have fans. So if there's a company with only 10 people in it, why not message the CEO? Why not message the owner and say, I wanted to reach out to somebody. I know you're a smaller company, but I wanted you to hear it from me. I am a fan, and here is why. And closes the story of why I'm a fan. If you're ever hiring for my skill set, I would be really grateful for the opportunity to interview with you. Now, when you send that to a CEO of a smaller company and you're very specific, you don't say, I heard you're a great place to work, or you don't say, folks, I just love your products and services. Yeah, everyone says that. Learning a disruptive cover letter, which is the technique we teach, and saying, here's why I love your company, and here's a story about me using your product or service, or the story of the first time I realized how important you are. Storytelling matters to a CEO and to a high-level person in a small company, because nobody's as passionate about their company as they are. So when you tell that story, you light them up. And you say, I know you're probably not the person, but if there's ever a chance to interview with the company, I'd love it. And then the CEO sends it to whoever is in charge of hiring and says, hey, keep this person on file, or respond to this person, or connect with this person. It works. So smaller companies, in a lot of ways, Joe, can be easier to get into because you can get more direct access to the highest levels. So that's my advice there. So, the question is on LinkedIn, so basically, why do companies use ATS then? If they finally recruit by recommendation, it's quite disturbing and stressful. Yes, but remember, they're pulling the applications from the pile. So they use the ATS systems from a technology standpoint to populate their databases so that they can pull the candidate information through. And also, sometimes they find people that don't know nobody but the company, but they're 100% match, right? So they have these systems to automate the access. But what happens is, if you know somebody and they can get in touch with the hiring manager or the recruiter, they will go into the ATS and pull you from the pile. So you still need to be in there. So the difference is, I don't want you spraying and praying to a bunch of places where you have no connections and no chances of anybody pulling you from the pile. Your only chance is getting lucky, and that's a 3% chance. I instead want you targeting companies that you know that you're a fit for, applying and using and leveraging your online system in order to get pulled from the pile. They still need the technology. They're always going to need that technology. It's just, it doesn't help you. It's meant to help them screen out. It's not meant to help you. Just so you know. Let's see. Over on YouTube, Maria says, why do some companies and positions require experience with things that could be acquired through training? So a lot of times, Maria, it's because they don't have the time to train you. Oftentimes, companies are just looking for somebody that they can drop in the role because they don't have the time. So if they're saying that, that's probably the process. Because remember, your salary, let's say you want to make $50,000 a year. It doesn't cost that company $50,000 a year to hire you. It costs them 130 to 140% of that, right? So we're looking at it costing $80,000 to $90,000. Okay, everybody think about that. So if you get paid $50,000, it's really costing that company $80,000 to $90,000. That's crazy, right? But they have taxes to pay, insurances to pay, overhead costs to pay. So I don't want to have to train somebody. So for the first 6 months, they're of no value to me. I need them to be able to be dropped in and hit the ground running. So when you see that, that's what they're asking for there. That's why. Let's see. So David says, how do you find the right hiring manager when looking at a large company? So David, normally you want to take a look, if you can, at who posted the job description. A lot of times, for example, if you found it on LinkedIn, it'll tell you who posted it. If you can't find that, what you can do is take the job title and go over to the site recruitin.net, RECRUITIN. So the word recruit and the word IN after it all together, .net. And you can put in a search by company name and job title and location. And what will happen is it'll bring up a list of LinkedIn profiles that you can look at. And usually you can see who had the job or who has the job and who they're connected to at their company. And they're normally connected to managers that are higher than them. You usually can figure it out that way. or at the very least, target those people for outreach and see if they can help you find the right person. Let's see. Javer says, hey, up here in Canada, September through December is when companies hire for graduate rotational job programs. Could you comment on how they might be different this year in light of COVID? Yeah, so by now, the good news, I guess, is that companies have been thinking about this virtual strategy for a while. And so they'll have something like that in place. What I would say is you're probably going to see the total number of those opportunities diminish. Companies won't feel they have the bandwidth or the structure to hire as many people in rotation. So there'll be less of them, and it'll be more of that online because they're going to have to figure out ways to train you remotely, et cetera, et cetera. So my advice is to get on it early and be really intentional with your networking because there will be fewer opportunities. One thing that you should all know here, September, there's always an uptick in hiring in September and October, especially here in the US. And that's because it's called the back to school job search. When everyone goes back to school, all the summer vacations are over. So a lot of jobs went on hold in June, May, June, early July. And that's because the companies knew that all these different people would be on vacation that make the hiring decisions and that there would be nobody to train these people. So it's not a smart time to spend thousands of dollars hiring somebody. So they put this on hold and it slows down. When everyone goes back to school, when the kids go back to school, we get back into a routine. Hiring picks up in September and October because they have a very small window to hire and train you before a set of holidays hit that slows things up again. So you're going to see a hiring uptick right now, and everyone should be focused on that. And you have to have a great job search plan to take care of it. So be on top of that. Okay, Ronaldo asks, is it fair to network or reach out to the CEO of the company once you submit your application? It is fair, but not to ask them to do something for you, Ronaldo. So I'm glad you asked that. So if you applied to a company, and again, if it's a big company, the likelihood you're going to connect with them is not very large. I'd go down a level or two. But if it's a smaller company, and by smaller, I mean, 50 employees or less, maybe 100 employees or less, I would message the CEO on LinkedIn and say, I just applied to your XYZ job. I know you're not the hiring manager, but I wanted to tell you that I really admire your company and would love to share the story why. So that would be a customized connection request to the CEO, right? So you're kind of hinting at a story. You're recognizing the fact that they're not the hiring manager, but that you wanted to share your story. CEO will usually accept, and then you send your cover letter. And you say, enclosed is the disruptive cover letter that tells the story about why I'm so passionate about what your company does. And, I'm really hoping I get a chance to interview with your company sincerely. So you're not expecting anything back, but you're pushing this great story to them. So the CEO looks at it and says, yeah, I'm not the person, but I'll send it down to the head of HR and tell them to pull your application and take a look. It can happen, but you have to be careful. If the company's too big, the CEO is not the right person. You probably want to go to a VP or a director level, somebody several levels higher than yourself. But if it's a smaller company, it is okay to do that. All right. How do you follow up after sending an application if there are no human resource information available? You do your search. You search profiles on LinkedIn. Go to the company page of the organization, and all of the employees that have that company listed on their LinkedIn profile, you can find them and you can look at them and you can say, well, who would be closest to the role or who might be in the department based on the job I'm applying to? Maybe I can reach out to that person. You don't give up. You don't give up that easy. You got to find your in. Awesome. Let's see. Robert says, thank you for taking questions. Oh, you're welcome. I love doing it. How do I know what I know and what skill sets and talents are transferable skills I have that are in demand by hiring managers? Does Work It Daily help me discover my best self so I can put my best foot forward? Yes. And meaningful and fulfilling work, and also a great compensation package. Yeah. Looking for that match made in heaven. I totally get it, Robert. Yes. And that's exactly what we do at Work It Daily. See, so many people think that job search is slap together a resume and a LinkedIn profile and get out there. The problem with that is that you don't get a good result. You don't get a dream company. It's like going to a used car lot and being forced to pick by a bunch of cars that you don't even like that are not even in the right price range. Like, that's a bad experience. That's why people hate job search. They shouldn't hate job search. Job search is an opportunity for you to get excited about what skills you want to leverage and what types of companies you want to be aligned with, and building this relationship from the beginning that's built on mutual trust and admiration. That's good job search. And yes, we definitely help you with that. The transferable skills thing is a big thing that we do because we have a tool that teaches you how to figure that out. And we show you how to match it against the kinds of jobs that you're looking to get hired for. So there is a process of self-discovery. And if you really don't know who you are and what you want, then you use our professional strengths plan inside the platform to do a whole deep dive on yourself, to learn about your passions and your interests, your work style, your learning preferences, your communication style on the job. All of these things factor in. And when you know those, and when a coach can look at your results and tell you, hey, here's what you need to know about yourself, it's going to be much easier for you to dial in and focus that job search on the right opportunities. So there's work that needs to be done. And everybody listening to this, school didn't teach you this. It didn't. It's a skill. Job search is a skill. It's not rocket science and it's not brain surgery, but trust me when I say it's a skill. And the only way you're going to get skilled in it is if you're given the education on how to do it correctly. So whether you join us at Work It Daily or not, whether you take advantage of our amazing Job Search Summit or resume, whether you work with our free tools, just get help, folks. Just being here today is a step in the right direction. If we invest as much time on building our career knowledge and our career strategy as we did in goofing off on social media, we'd all be career rock stars. Be honest with yourself. You spend more time scrolling, looking, and liking, mindlessly distracting yourselves, right, than you do on learning what it's going to take to crush it and find the job of your dreams. Imagine if you channeled an hour a day into this and how much you could change, right? Just think about that. Awesome. Tailoring the disruptive cover letter and resume to each position takes me way too long. Can you talk about how to be more efficient? Yeah, absolutely. So when you tailor your resume, we have a very specific resume template. I don't want to say template. Template is the wrong word, but it's what people most understand. We have a very specific framework. And when you use our framework correctly, the only thing you ever change from job to job is what we call the top fold of the resume, which is just a few items. Because we know that recruiters spend 6 seconds on your resume, average is 6 to 13. They skim your resume and that top fold is the first impression. So if you understand how to adjust the top fold in a matter of minutes to match a potential job, that's all you need to do. You shouldn't be changing the entire resume. And then the cover letter, when you target the right type of companies, the story that you use in the cover letter is often very similar. So once you've written it up, you're not rewriting a new cover letter every time. You're just tweaking the existing story to more directly match that organization. And that's how you're able to do it more succinctly and still create this highly customized, targeted approach that gets people's attention. Let's see. Darlene says we are in a pandemic recession, election year, and end of year sales push. I don't feel that hiring will be stronger until January. That's my take, not being negative, being realistic. Darlene, I totally respect it that you're feeling that way. I can just tell you that we're inside a platform with thousands and thousands of job seekers, and we're already seeing the uptick. Even with companies that are laying off, they're actually still hiring. If you don't believe me, go take a look. Go take a look at a company that's laid off in the last 3 months and go to their careers page and there are open positions. Companies aren't stopping hiring, folks. They're restructuring so that they can hire up again. They've got to free up dollars and resources so they can pivot their companies and grow again. Every business owner, every executive knows if a business isn't growing, it's dying. So when you have something that's happened like this, once you realize it's not going to change, right? The new normal, the new reality, you restructure your business to profitability and you grow again. And that is happening right now as we speak. So Darlene will agree to disagree, but I can tell you I got concrete evidence inside our platform. Let's see. If you are approaching people in the company in similar roles as you are applying to, what is the best way to go about it if you plan to get a referral from them? So I always take a look at all of the people that are in that similar role. And I look at how long they've been with the company. And I look and see if we have anything in common. So if they've been at the company a long time, my angle might be, I see you've been in the company a long time and in this role, I'd really love to get your take on what it takes to be successful and stay at that company and grow at that company. Whereas if it's somebody that's been there less than a year, you might say, congratulations, I see you just joined the company in under a year. I'd love to hear your hiring experience and what you think it takes to get hired. Or maybe you're going to see somebody that's taken the same certification as you or went to the same school. You're going to tailor it. So each person's going to be a little different. And that's important because not everyone's going to respond to you, but all it takes is one. Let's see. Have reached out to a lot of hiring managers through LinkedIn. Okay. But few of them reply that they are not related to the position. So please apply online. So what do I do? So I would not apply. I wouldn't just go to the hiring managers. If you are not getting responses from hiring managers or recruiters, and this can have to do with your industry, your location, your skill set, the level that you're at, I would look for people at the company that are in the department, right? Just like we talked about earlier, and see if you can't connect and seek their advice on what it takes to stand out, as opposed to going straight to the hiring managers and recruiters if you are not getting responses. You can try that because if it works, it's awesome, but you still got to try the other resources as well, which is talking to potential peers. Let's see. I am currently in Rhode Island and relocating to Los Angeles. Is there anything specific I should do to make my application stand out from the rest of the applicants that are already in California? So you need to know that if you can't lie and say you're in California, because if they call you and say, come in for an interview, you're in trouble. They're going to know you're not there. If you put Rhode Island, you're being disqualified automatically. Companies aren't going to pay for any relocation, so they naturally look for people that are in the local area. So what I would do instead is try to find the recruiter for the job, create a bucket list of employers in California you want to work for, and then I would reach out to the recruiter and say, I am relocating to your area in the next X number of months. Like, you have to tell them that you're going to be there by a certain date, and it needs to be within, say, 3 to 6 months. And say, so I'm starting my job search now. Could you tell me what you look for in a candidate? So when I get there, I can hopefully apply. I'm interested in positions like your XYZ position that you have posted now. So basically you're saying, I see you have this position posted now. I'm relocating. Your company's on my bucket list. I'd love to work for you someday. What do you think it takes to stand out and be considered for these roles? So now you're telling them that you're a reload. That kind of piques the recruiter's interest because they know that you're not showing up in their normal pool search, their normal talent search. So they're going to go look at your profile because you're not showing up in their search results. So if your profile's well optimized and your story's good, they might say, well, when you're planning to move here in 3 months, let's have a conversation. And this can be a wonderful way for you to start to, tee up conversations so that when you get there, you're able to be considered. Let's see. Question is, if recruiters only read the top of the resume, why should they take the time tailoring the rest of the resume? Yeah, totally my point. They're going to read the top of the resume, and if they can't see what they need to see, check, they're not going to keep reading. That's why our format works so well. Our format is all about tailoring the top fold so that you hit all the things that the recruiter's looking for so that they do go look at the rest of your resume. Exactly. Ruben asks, when you mention 100% fit, could you please clarify? I seek strategic roles, and job descriptions now seem like those are entirely departmental instead of one person and hard to match 100%. Okay, so what he's saying is some of these jobs seem like they require 4 people instead of 1. Here's what you need to do, folks. This is a technique we teach inside Work It Daily. Take the job description. Every single requirement in the job description, create a table in a document. In the first column, in each cell, add every single requirement that you are reading that they are asking for. Every must-have, every nice-to-have, everything. And then right next to it in the other column, put in your experience that validates that. What experience do you have that meets that criteria? If you can fill every single one and match up entirely and provide an example that supports it, you are 100% match. And if there's 20 things and you can fill out 18 of them, then you're a 90% match. If you can only fill out 16, you're an 80% match. After that, you're not even going to get looked at. So it's the statistical way for you to figure out whether or not you are a match for the job. Now, if you can not only fill out every one, but you're saying I have like multiple experiences of this, they want 4 years, I've got 20, they've got this, I've got that, you're overqualified. And they're not going to take you either. So that's why you're looking for, it's like the 3 little bears. You're looking for the just right in that fairy tale. And that's what you have to make happen there. Are there any methods to apply for jobs that I have related qualifications but little or no experience? There is not, other than networking. Applying online will get you 0 results. If you have got to have a relationship and have a conversation with someone. That is the only way you will be considered. Let's see. Comment from Steve. For those of you not part of Work It Daily yet, please know they are awesome. Oh, thank you, Steve. Their team truly cares about helping you and having been amazing to work with, giving me a renewed purpose and confidence. Steve, virtual hug. We love all of you. That's what Work It Daily is. We're a family teaming up and working together and helping everyone get their career game up. We're all a bunch of players in there, right? We're all on the same team playing and upping our game. And I love that, Steve. That's exactly what we're going for. Awesome. Okay, everyone. This has been great. It always goes so fast, Q&A. Here's one thing I want to know. If this is your first time here and you love Q&A, you love what we're doing, here's what you need to know. I do this every Tuesday at 12 noon exclusively for the Work It Daily family. So you could come and have your questions answered exclusively, privately, every single week with me and the other members. Also, if you join our program, our career coaches will answer any question you have. So if you have delicate questions, or maybe there's things that you really want to get into about your particular situation, they will answer those personally. So this, you learning and growing, happens a lot faster when you have people to support you. So please consider joining us. And if you really want to see what we're like, if you're not ready to join our membership program, then check out the $5 Resume Accelerator so you can see what our materials are like and what our coaches are like. Join me September 22nd, myself and Ariella, the head of coaching, for our all-day summit, $10, right? You will see what I'm talking about. Work It Daily is a game changer. You have got to work on your career. Stop messing around and wasting your time on Instagram, and all these other platforms, blowing away hours at a time. Peel off 10 minutes, peel off 30 minutes, become a member of Work It Daily. Let's change your game. Let's do it. Okay. And if I still haven't convinced you at this point, it's okay too, because I love you. I love all of you that you come here every week. We'll be back next week. Again, we've got Stacey Lewis back in action next week. We're going to be doing some really good stuff with respect to the interview process, all about diversity and inclusion. We are the one and only company out there that is offering a monthly live free series on this to educate people on how to be correct in their approaches to diversity and inclusion. And I'm so proud of our team and what they're doing. So special thank you to the team. So be sure that you check that out next week as well, okay? All right, then I'll see you next Wednesday. And until then, remember what we always tell you. If you want to win, you got to work it daily. Bye, everyone.